Thank you for joining us for your October 14th ParkerWeather.info daily update. Well, some pretty interesting
Stuff going on up in the Northeast, and then we're also going to have a quick tropical update. So, right now, we're looking at our infrared imagery, and we have to use infrared because it's night, and we can't use visible because there's no sunlight. And we notice a pretty broad area of clouds and storms that have since moved into New England about over the last 6 or so hours, and is causing heavy rainfall off the coast and into the portion of a lot of states up there. This is our College of DuPage radar mosaic, and it takes all the radar sites out of the Northeast and sort of combines them all into one singular image. And the majority of the rain that's off the coast, it seems like it has a lot of power behind it, is going to begin to move onshore into portions of Massachusetts, into portions of Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, and then begin to work its way up into the northeastern portion of New England. Here's a more localized look at the Boston, Massachusetts radar. You can see Rhode Island is getting inundated with rain, as are portions of Connecticut, and then soon to be northern Massachusetts, Vermont, and New Hampshire, as the majority of those off-sea storms begin to move into those states. So this is our 850 millibar, which shows our temperatures at 850, along with any low or high pressure systems. And along with that low pressure that's bringing a lot of rain off the coast, we're also seeing massive inundation of cold air into that area. So once that cold air begins to drain into New England, the eastern portion of the Ohio River is going to see pretty chilly weather over the next couple of days, and that's also going to bring some more mild temperatures to the southeast. Now, you remember we talked about this last week. We thought temperatures were going to be a lot cooler than they are now. They're not, but still, any milder temperatures in the southeast is always a welcome surprise. So this is something you can do with Google Earth. You can look at ship and buoy data off the coast to see temperature, wave height, pressure, all that kind of stuff. So you can see basically the surface pressure, and you can see the surface strength of specific storms. So if we look at one ship off the Massachusetts coast just north of Cape Cod, 29.71 inches of mercury and rapidly falling as our atmospheric pressure, wave heights of 5 seconds, significant wave height of 3.9 feet. So you can get a lot of interesting stuff along with lighthouse reports, military ships, all that kind of good stuff, thanks to NOAA, and you can get this on Google Earth. Well, this is our surface pressure, 1,000 millibar, overlaid with our QPF, which is quantitative precipitation forecasting. And the purple and the greens and all that you see is basically telling you how much rain is going to have fallen at that point. It's not how much rain is falling right now. It's not like a radar. It's how much rain has fallen over a 6 hour period up to this point. So it has a pretty broad band of light rain across New England. And then you'll notice that it also is showing some pretty heavy amounts of rain in portions of New England 6 hours later. So they're going to get absolutely inundated with rain. So this is our current station plot data for 3Z on the 15th. And you notice that there's plenty of rainfall, and a southerly wind is dominant over the entire area, but plenty of rainfall in the portions of Cape Cod and southern Massachusetts, and all that is going to begin to slide north. Temperatures and dew points pretty high across Maine as well, and out in the ocean. So that atmosphere is pretty saturated, and they could see a lot of rain over the next 6 or so hours with this storm. Well, this is the projected rainfall from radar data, and portions of eastern Massachusetts are going to see upwards of probably 2 to 3 inches. Same with portions of western Massachusetts. And then as we go into New Hampshire and Maine, it looks like the coastline is going to get hit the most, with one little area projected to get anywhere from 4 to 6 inches in southern Maine, but pretty heavy rainfall across the majority of the New England states. Along with all this rain, we're going to get kind of worried about river forecasts, and these are not the current observations. These are what they're forecasted to do within 48 hours. So moderate flooding in Skowhegan, Maine, but for the most part, minor flooding to near stage flood across the majority of the rivers that are going to see any flooding at all. So as we go ahead and go back to our QPF, you notice that there is heavy amounts of rain across portions of New England, a localized 1.53, a localized 2.8, in southern New Hampshire and southern Vermont. So pretty heavy rain across the entire area. And then when we parallel this with the GFS, we notice that the GFS is a little bit lighter in what it's projecting that New England is going to get in rain. So a little disagreement in the model. So at this point, we sort of just have to sit back, know that the area is going to probably get over at least an inch and a half, and sort of look at observations the next day. Well, in the southeast, along with some of the milder temperatures, there's also really, really low dew points and some pretty gusty wind, and that has issued red flag warnings across a lot of the states in the southeast. So red flag warnings are issued with when they're worried about fire weather. When you have low dew points along with heavy winds, it's pretty favorable for fire conditions. Well, let's go ahead and do a really quick tropical check. Tropical storm Paula has continued to move on the northern edge of Cuba. Don't be surprised if it becomes no longer a tropical system over the next probably, I'd say, 12 to 18 hours. It's really lost a lot of its power as it moved over the Cuban mainland, and also it really doesn't have anything going for it to strengthen the system. So we're going to take a look out at Typhoon Meji. And again, like yesterday, Meji, Megi, not quite sure how to pronounce that. But right now it is a category 2. Like yesterday I mentioned, it probably would be. It looked like it was going to ramp up pretty quickly. And just in about 18 hours, it went from a tropical storm to a category 2 typhoon. And they're worried about it becoming what is known as a super typhoon. So at least a category 4 typhoon before it makes landfall on the northern Philippines. And from what I was reading, about 100% positive about this landfall in the northern Philippines. So some potentially disastrous flooding and that kind of stuff in the northern Philippines thanks to a typhoon. And this is our current IR imagery of it. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen the neon green outline of the Philippines, and then obviously the little plus sign is where the center of the storm is. As it continues to move towards the Philippines unimpeded, it should begin to have a pretty nice rotation with it, and there should be a centralized eye along with it, I'd say probably within 6 or so hours. Well, this has just been a sort of quick update for the day. Be sure to visit us at parkerweather.blogspot.com for all updates, parkerweather.info for all weather links, and twitter.com parkerweather for any type of quick weather updates for the day. Appreciate you logging in, and have a great day.